This is gonna be a bit weird for me to talk about. This is a subject that I don't really want to make a big deal out of it because it is what it is, but I have reasons for making this video. When I make videos about my mental health, I do it for you guys out there that are going through similar things, and I don't want you guys to feel alone. That I want you to know that there are other people out there with the same thing. And I guess I'm doing this for kind of the same reasons. It's not like I'm keeping it a secret, because I've said it on this channel before, and I say it on Twitter all the time, but I've never really specifically talked about it online. I've talked about it with other people in real life, but this just feels weird. Earlier this year in February, Valentine's Day happened, and I've always had a hard time with this particular date every single year because it is a date for romance and all that jazz. And as far as I can remember, which I'm pretty sure I'm not forgetting anything in my life, I have always been single. And the whole Valentine's thing, it just gets rubbed into my face of, Kayla, you're 30 years old and you're still single, never been on a date. For some reason, it just hit me really hard this year. And well, this year my mental health has not been the best. It's been the worst. So I have that going for me. But for a couple years now, I have identified as demisexual, which basically, for me, I know this has a different definition for multiple people, but for me, it was a fancy way of saying I'm picky. Not really. It was the fact that I could not see myself getting into a relationship of any sort unless I really knew the person. And I wasn't getting to that stage with anyone. I could not understand the concept of going out, meeting someone, and doing something the same night or soon. It was a foreign concept. So when I learned of the word demisexual, I went, yeah, that sounds like me. It must be. This year, I have finally decided to fully embrace my asexual nature, not just demisexual, but full-blown asexual, and a romantic nature that is just the way that I am. For the most part, it makes a lot of sense. I have looked back in past events in hindsight and went, yeah, okay, I get it now. But at the same time, coming to the realization has been a struggle for me, because I feel like in a way it's me giving up on a potential future that I had for myself. Going back to my childhood, I only remember having a crush on one person, and that was like in the second, third grade. And I don't know if I just wanted to be that guy's friend or whatnot. I kissed him on the cheek, but other than that, nothing. I attended middle school in the States, and that was my first real foray into teenage romances, at least observing them, and I found it a little ridiculous. And I was homeschooled for high school, so I didn't get any experience or friendships at all during high school. So I kind of led a secluded life in that regards, and a lot of times my weight, I have felt, is the key factor. Nobody wants to date a fat girl, but that's besides the point. That's not it at all. And then when I moved back to Canada, I started university, I got a job, I lived my life as an adult, and nothing was really happening. You know, no one really shows interest in me, and if they did, I did not see it. I'm oblivious. And I kept thinking, okay, new year, this is the year I'm gonna go on a date and find a boyfriend and lose my virginity and all that jazz. I don't want to be a 22-year-old blah blah blah, or the 30-year-old virgin. A lot of it I thought was my weight. I currently am over 300 pounds. It's a lot to handle. Okay, I have found some people have shown interest, but I consider them chubby chasers, and I'm not interested in those people at all. I'm not interested in anyone at all. But I would not give those people times a day, because you're looking at my body. You're not looking at me. And I got problems with that. Earlier this year, when I was coming to the realization that I am asexual, I realized this. I have a pretty good imagination, and so I would envision myself with a potential partner in the future, and how I would feel of normal situations like holding hands or kissing or things beyond that, and it just made me feel very uncomfortable. I will look at a couple out in the real world holding hands, or the guy's got their arm wrapped around the girl, and I'm just thinking, no, that I would feel very, very claustrophobic. Like, don't, I'm a very, very personal bubble person. Like, do not go into my personal bubble. So those are clear indications that I'm aromantic. Being completely truthful to myself, I don't really want a relationship with anybody. The things I get out of my friendships, very few friendships that I have, that's all I really need out of interactions with people, companionship. I'm very content on living alone and being alone for most of the time. I'm very happy this way. I don't need a lot of social interactions. And that goes with me being an introvert as well. Coming to the realization that I was asexual, or am asexual, was hard for a couple reasons. One, I had envisioned my future of getting married and having kids, and I was kind of mourning the loss of that. Thinking, okay, well, I'm never gonna have that fairy tale wedding one day, and I probably won't have kids because you need two to tango. The second part for that for me was hard, because I really envisioned myself being a mom one day, and anytime I would imagine myself being a mom, it was always by myself. I don't want to share that responsibility with anyone. Like, I'm weird. The other thing I've struggled with was the whole concept of being a part of the LGBT and not being straight, because for 30 years I've considered myself straight and an ally. It's different now, and I have a hard time talking about my sexuality because I am an ally. One of the things I know about being an ally is to listen and shut up for most of the time and basically be supportive. I know that I don't go through the amount of persecution and hate as a lot of the members of the LGBT group community does. I don't know what it's like to be hated for loving someone I shouldn't by normative values, because I have just had the absence of it. Yes, I get the arguments of, oh, you don't know what you're missing, you'll grow out of it, you're picky, you're frigid. Like, I get all those, but that doesn't really bother me as much, and I'm not really persecuted for not loving someone. And while I enjoy the freedom to do that, I know it is a lot harder for other people to love who they love. And love is love. So while being asexual is technically part of the asexual spectrum and is on the LGBTQIA part of the LGBT plus, I don't really consider myself queer. And that is my own personal way of seeing myself. Everyone is different. People who are asexual and biromantic, or asexual and heteromantic, and all the other pairings that go with that, they feel differently about how they identify and how they feel, and this is just how I feel. But I wanted to share this with you because, I don't know, maybe you see something in me that you feel in yourself, and you know, hi. I'm 30 years old, and I've never been on a date, and I've never properly kissed anyone in my entire life, and I've never had sex. Which, you know, it is what it is. Don't really care about that. I don't. And as for having kids one day, first I thought it wasn't a possibility anymore, but you know what? It is a possibility. There are ways of doing it. And I'm looking forward to that in the future because I want to be a mom. And I will be a mom, and I will be a good mom. I will be happy with that. That's all I have for you guys today. I just wanted to have a little talk about things. Like I said, I still feel a bit weird about talking about it on the internet, even though I talk about it on Twitter and in real life, no problem. I'm asexual and I'm proud of it. And I take pride in knowing that there is nothing wrong with me. I'm not broken. Yes, I find relationships very hard to understand. Even non-romantic relationships and non-sexual relationships, I have a hard time with those. So maybe that's a whole different thing, but the bottom line is that I'm happy with who I am, and that's really all that matters. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys later.